entertain you on a giant screen with the few colorful motion pictures you've been hearing about and reading
It's
about.
showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
We're delighted to have you with us. They're driving theater.
You'll find something to please you to add to your evening's enjoyment.
Is pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Drive-In Speaker Box podcast. It is Monday. It is 8 o'clock. We are live, Central Standard Time, broadcasting to you on July 8th, 2024. You're tuned into the Drive-In Speaker Box. I'm your host, Bo, the boom operator.
I'm Slick Dougie the Grip.
And this is a movie podcast. If you're new, welcome. If you're old, welcome back. If you're tuning into the live stream, join in on the fun. Thanks for joining us, all of our Twitch viewers over there on the Twitch pre-show. We've been going on for the past half hour talking about all kinds of crazy stuff. You want to get involved in there, follow us over on Twitch. Or you can just follow us wherever it is you like to stream. We make it available for those folks over on Facebook and YouTube. Or if you just want to download the podcast, just download the podcast wherever it is you download podcasts. Search for the Drive-In Speaker Box podcast. It's real easy to do. With all of that self-promotion aside, we've got a show for you tonight. We saw some movies. We're going to talk to you guys about movies. Jake here went and saw more India cinema than I think humanly possible in a week on the 4th of July week that one person can see.
2 movies.
Yeah.
That's all I did was watch 2.
But that's still like 15 hours.
No, actually, Kill's not very long, and
By India standards. I mean, so it's
no,
not
by
like,
any movie standards, dude. It's.
I have never watched a
Indian
film.
movies are now no longer than
They're always 3 hours.
They're no longer any longer than anyone else's movies.
Like a
because
Marvel movie.
Marvel movies are constantly 3 hours long. New movies that don't need to be.
That's
3
true.
hours long or 3 hours long. You don't need them to be. So
You saw.
I saw the new Bollywood movie Kill,
Okay.
and I saw the new Telugu movie Kalki 2898.
Right.
So I got to see that. The shows were no longer sold out like they were
Last weekend.
Yeah, when we last did the show leading up to that, because it Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday
All sold out.
before our show Monday. So I finally got to go watch Kalki.
Well, and I checked out the Axel F, the new installment of the Beverly Hills Cop franchise on Netflix, and you watched a lot of it.
I watched all but the last 30 minutes.
That's a problem with watching things at home. You're just like, I'm going to squeeze in. Yep, and I didn't make it.
Yeah.
But we're going to be talking about that. I watched the whole thing actually this afternoon, so it's fresh. It's still right there. So we're going to be talking about those movies with you today. But before we get into that, let's jump in the news. Speaking of long movies, Dina just commented on Twitch. She said, no, that Horizon movie I saw was like 15 hours. And speaking of Horizon,
It's going to be 12.
it is not those. I was reading today over at Slash Film that the other sequels might not actually get made because it's making way less money than even they anticipated. It would not be a huge hit, but they were like, that's fine. But then they were like, wait a minute, it's not even making any money.
It's good though. Did you go watch it? You said you were playing it on.
I didn't have 6 hours.
No, it's 3. It's only 3 on the first
I know,
installment.
I'm just being a jerk.
We get the next one next month. So, like I said, I think when we were talking about it last week, as the next movie comes out, there will probably be a surge in the first movie. It's really good.
I've heard. Yeah, I've
It
heard
has
it's
a
good.
lot of stories to tell. The cinematography is great. The settings look really fantastic. The music is really well done. The sound effects are fantastic.
But if it's anything that Worthington's Law has taught us, that if it doesn't make money, it's no good.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it said its only opening weekend was 11 million. So not huge.
I've also seen a lot of things where like a lot of people are attacking it.
But it had $100 million budget for the first chapter.
They shot the first 2 at the same time though. So
No, it said Chapter 1 had $100 million budget just for
how
Chapter
do they
1.
figure that when they shoot 2 movies at once?
Maybe they allocate funds to. It's like, okay, this
scene cost this much.
Yeah,
but
you've
this
got-
scene cost this, because there's no way they shot it in order.
because I mean, a $100 million movie, by Hollywood standards, is supposed to make between 200 and 300 million to be like considered a profitable endeavor. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, see, Dina agrees with me that it's a very pretty movie, but she said she did not like it. Well, why didn't you like it?
Whoa.
What was there to not like is my question.
Cowpokes.
The only thing I did not like was the ending that had no resolutions to set up for the other movies. Because it was like, right as everyone's story is really getting rolling, it's like, tune in for part 2. And then it shows a montage of what's to come. And you're like, whoa, that looks super rad. And it goes, gotta wait 2 months.
I know. And I feel like maybe that might be indicative of something that people, it's weird. Like, we want sequels, but we don't want multi-part movies, which is strange. Like, and I think it goes back to what you were saying there. It's like, I think we want a self-contained narrative in part 1. It's like, okay, well, we want something to wrap up with a pretty little bow. We don't want to just like hit episode 1 and have no resolution and have to wait for episode 2 to come out. I mean, Maxine, for example, made quite a bit of money at the box office, despite being, a fairly low-budget horror trilogy, very loosely tied trilogy. You know what I mean? But I don't know.
Well, and I think they felt it was safe to leave because it's not like cliffhanger endings; it's just unresolved endings. And I think they felt safe doing that because they had the release dates set up so close to each other. That was probably like an editor being like, "Oh, dude, sick. Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
thanks so much." Or maybe it was a nightmare because they have to be like, "Well, where do we put the split?" Who knows? Dina says it was too long. Michael Rooker's accent was unintelligible and his looping was bad. The interweaving story thing is fine, but it dragged for about an hour and a half. So you got to set things up. It did go from like action to slow down to action to like slow down, and that was I don't know. I really like westerns. I'm used to that kind of thing. I like things like Lonesome Dove miniseries, most of the Lonesome Doves. All that type of thing is fine with me. Michael Rooker's accent was not unintelligible.
He wasn't showing himself.
But he's an Irish guy. It was a bit of a shock for him doing an accent and stuff like that. But it's fine. After a minute, you kind of got acclimated to it. Whatever. We'll see when part 2 comes out.
Speaking of part 2s that no one asked for, a sequel to a 2006 film is now being greenlit. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but Devil Wears Prada somehow getting pulled out of that bucket for a sequel.
Was there a sequel to the book?
I don't know. I didn't really do my research on this one, but they said that the original film's director, David Frankel, is in talks to return. But right now, the original cast, which was like Meryl Streep, Anne Hathaway, Emily Blunt. Yeah, they're not locked in yet, but money is a thing.
I don't think it would make sense for all 3 of them to come back because I vaguely remember that movie. I was dating a girl at the time.
I mean, you gotta have Meryl Streep, though.
Made me watch it. Yeah, but she was like the big bad or whatever.
She was the devil.
And Anne Hathaway was like the new girl, and Emily Blunt was like the girl that was trying to be Meryl Streep by being her like assistant and getting shit on all the time. And then Anne Hathaway comes in, and so Emily Blunt like hates Anne Hathaway for it, and all 3 of them just kind of hate each other. So you can't have all 3 of them because how can they go that long?
But what if they all were friends and it was their kids now? Like, that seems like it's the shit that everybody's doing.
The point of the story is that it was the friendship they made on the way. Is that what it's supposed to be? Because it doesn't work.
Well, Dina's on Twitch. She piped in and said she thinks there were 3 books.
Oh, yeah. Stanley Tucci was like, he can't play that character now. He's not allowed to play that character now.
And as Night Owlishly on Twitch pointed out, they didn't hate each other in the end because they all became friends because they all understood the game. And I don't know. It's been a really long time since I've seen this movie. It is gone from my memory other than the people that are in it.
I watched it once in the theater because my girlfriend at the time was like, I worked at the theater, and she's like, let's go watch that. And so we did. And I was like, I don't.
Well, Call her up. See if she wants to go see the sequel. Be like, hey.
I don't think my girlfriend now would be very happy with it.
Let's see. What else in the news? Inside Out 2, officially one of the highest grossing movies of all time right now. It has surpassed Iron Man 3 to crack in the all-time 25 at the global box office, which is freaking nuts because it's only been out for, 3 weeks, 4 weeks? I think this is its fourth week. Yeah, fourth week in release. And it is already in the well over $1 billion club, which is insane. What did you have for your news bits this week? Do you have anything written?
Oh
on
man, well
paper?
yeah, we got an F1 trailer, the Brad Pitt F1 movie. We got a brief trailer for it that just shows racing. They name off a couple of big brands that compete in F1, and then it just showed cars racing and lots of car noises with Brad Pitt in the cockpit just zooming around the track. It looks cool. Don't know anything about it yet. There was nothing to tell you about a story other than there's an old dude racing in F1.
Hell yes,
Go watch it. But visually, it looked pretty cool. It looked identical to the Gran Turismo movie.
Yeah, it kind of did.
It didn't have anything to stand out like Ford versus Ferrari or something like that. It's just modern racing. So it looks like every other racing movie.
I'm just glad it wasn't a NASCAR. It's too redneck. I'm just gonna say it. I can't.
Not anymore, man.
We're NASCAR. I mean, F1's pretty cool. Funny cars are really cool. NASCAR is just
out of any kind of track racing, like loop track racing. NASCAR is far more interesting than F1.
I mean, but you're not just going in a circle.
But there's tactics to it, and there's teamwork and stuff. NASCAR is pretty intricate, and they're going 200 miles an hour
in a circle.
Yeah, well,
for 500 laps.
When's the last time you went 200 miles an hour for?
I'd be so bored. I mean, I'd be bored in the car. I'd be bored watching it. I've been to the Talladega 500 and fell asleep and got heat stroke.
The only motorsport that I like watching at all is rallycross, but that's because they do 4 to 5 laps.
And the Dakar.
They have to make Dakar. Geez, you want to talk about being bored? Watch these guys race across a desert for 2 or 3 weeks or whatever.
I know, it's badass.
Yeah, it's cool, but not to watch.
No, not to watch. Just conceptually, it's
just
cool.
like
kind of like the cannonball.
Regular stage rally racing is boring because they're like, here's a corner, and they go, whoom. Next corner, whoom. You're like, okay, cool. But rallycross, you get to see the whole thing 4 or 5 laps on a very short track. They're the fastest launching cars on the planet because they're twin charged, and they just butt into each other. Wheels will fly off, and they'll keep racing. Like it's super cool. Nothing is better than rallycross, but racing's boring for the most part. F1 trailer looks kind of cool visually. We'll see how that goes. Something else that was more interesting than that, though, trailer that was released. The Mandela Effect Phenomenon documentary.
I did not see this.
Yeah. So there's a documentary.
I think I did, but I thought I saw a different version of it. It came out last year.
So, yeah, there's a Mandela Effect documentary coming out, and it's like Captain Crunch or Cap'n Crunch. Berenstain. Or Bernstein,
Shazam.
Berenstain. Yeah, Sinbad in a movie where he's a genie, kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. So all of that is going to be explored in a documentary.
The Monopoly Man having a monocle.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah,
yeah, I've seen him. I've seen him.
So and it'll go deeper. And in the trailer, they have universes split or timelines combined and all the things, which is something that I say anytime someone's like, I'm like, you must be from the
Berenstain universe.
Yeah, like the combined.
We're swapping in and out of these dimensions.
And then also, Bike Riders, a movie that I talked about here on the show not that long ago, has already got its VOD release.
Yes, sir.
Tomorrow.
Yep.
So you can
check it out at home.
Rent it and watch it at home starting tomorrow. It's not a bad movie. You know, it's based on a book. All the dialogue and character designs are based on real stuff. The storyline is completely made up for the movie, but
And
they
you
make
can-
it fit
yeah.
with.
It was what, like 3 episodes ago you reviewed it? Was
Two.
it 2 or 3?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
movie has not been out that long.
Yeah, you can rewind a couple of episodes back and get the full
Yeah,
review.
talking movies that did not make dollars.
Yeah.
It has not at all made the kind of money that they thought that it probably would.
Well, and
But it's-
generally his movies don't. Like, people like his movies, but they don't always go on to be box office smashes. They always are just like good movies. Old Jeff Nichols.
Yep, not a bad movie. But talking about bad movies, Moana live action. The Rock announced that it has its production start date
Oh, great.
next month,
Fantastic.
with a set to release July 10th of
2025?
26.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
Okay. They got to get all into beach bod shape, and
yeah, 2 years and 2 days from today,
that's wild.
you're probably going to see live action Moana in the theater, except there's going to be delays, so you're not.
Ugh.
Yeah. So that's a thing that no one asked
Maybe
for.
it's just going to take so long that it'll turn into one of those movies that they try to trash for insurance and nobody ends up seeing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Disney sees what Warner Brothers is doing, and they're like,
They go, hey, this could be money.
yeah. And then the last real thing on
Because then they don't have to pay for distribution. They just get that money. They just
do their insurance claims on it, and then they can tell all the producers, "Sorry, we don't know where your money went." But movies that we do need, movies that people have asked for, specifically us, Mission Impossible 8. Simon Pegg announced on his Instagram today that he has wrapped his portion of the filming for that movie. So after 2 years,
Well, does that mean that he's got a smaller role in the movie?
I'm hoping that it means that the entire movie is near its wrap date.
He just got wrapped on The Boys last couple episodes. They killed his character off.
Oh, dang, what?
Yeah, it was a bummer because he was Huey's dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got died, or what's the words you could say? You can't say killed. You can't say you got
Unalived.
Oh God. Okay. Fuck.
Yeah.
Unalived. Stupid.
I guess I need to recap and then watch this season because you talked about it last week too. And then the very last bit of news that I had is that Kalki, 2898 movie I'm going to talk to you guys about here in just a little bit. It is the most expensive Indian movie ever made at $75 million.
Whoa.
And it's already crested past $100 million at the box office. And it is
Go Kalki.
solidly in the top 10 highest grossing Indian movies of all time. So Prabhas has like 3 or 4 of those top 10 to his name, which is pretty cool for him. And estimations were that it was going to be number 8 before long. So Kalki is officially one of the most successful movies, Indian movies ever made.
Heck yeah. We're going to talk about that here in just a moment, actually. But before we do that, let's talk about what movies are coming out in theaters this week, because we need to jump into that, and then we'll hit some of these reviews, because we've got a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, real quick, Vince says, seems like every Indian movie I say is the most expensive ever. Does each movie spend $1 more?
Yeah.
Something like that.
$73 million and $2.
I think that Indian cinema right now, with their deals with Disney and Netflix, have been seeing a much broader audience across the world that don't necessarily hail from India or speak any of their languages, because they're being released with subtitles for almost all of them right away. They're seeing better distribution across the world, and it's something that it's hitting much broader audiences, or reaching Indian audiences in countries outside of India, like Canada, U.S., places like that. And that is creating this kind of boom of Indian cinema and what it's able to do with the budgets they have. Because for something that costs $75 million, why does it look so much better than the movies that
It's like
Hollywood is spending
Enron
$300 million on it?
Because I feel like that's what happens in Hollywood, just like it does in government contract work. You go in there like, oh, I guess we need a podium for this scene. Guess it's going to be $19,000. Isn't that how much podiums cost? And then you're these budgets get super inflated. And they're like, oh, we need a coffee budget. How much is a coffee these days? Like $50 for a coffee. All right, we need a $1.2 million coffee budget. And then just everything gets it's like insurance companies. They do the same shit.
It could be like a Godzilla -1 thing where its budget was $13 million with advertising or whatever. And a lot of it was just...
That was also Japan.
Yeah, so, but it was like love for the product. There was people that are like, I want to make this the best thing that it can be. And I think a lot of Hollywood stuff is like, well, I can make the plant in the background look more realistic. You know? Like, I could do it, but, you know...
Yeah. Well, and like Merle said, aspirin at the hospital is $15, you know, like one. And I feel like that's probably happening a lot in Hollywood, is just these grossly, ridiculously overinflated things for budgeting reasons. Because they're like, we're going to spend this money anyway, so might as well charge a shitload for this stuff. Anyway, well, let's jump into the movies that are coming out this week, because we got three movies to review. And not a whole. We only got 30 minutes to talk about them. So we got 4 movies coming out this week. 2 of them are in limited release. Probably not going to make it to a theater near you. I think they'll be in limited, maybe expanded release, but definitely not national release. The first one is National Anthem. This movie actually wrapped up last year. It's from director Luke Guilford. You probably saw the trailer for it. It's about a 21-year-old construction worker in New Mexico joining a community of queer rodeo performers in search of their own version of the American dream. I don't know if you've seen the trailer for this. I saw it for a while there earlier this year, and like when I would go see any sort of like kind of indie art house flick at the theater, I'd see a trailer for this, but it is getting official release. Did really well in Sundance and South by Southwest, so that's coming out this week. Also coming out this week, The Convert. It's from director Lee Tamahori. It's got Guy Pearce in this one. It's about a preacher arriving in a British settlement in the 1830s. His violent past soon drawn into question, his faith put to the test as he finds himself caught in the middle of a bloody war between Maori tribes. And of course, Guy Pearce is that preacher. And Guy Pearce, I like Guy Pearce. He's a pretty talented actor. I usually enjoy roles that he takes. And this got ships and stuff in it, which I'm always down for. 1830s.
I saw an article that I did not read where he was like supposedly approached to be James Bond at some point.
I mean, I could see it. Guy Pearce is a pretty cool dude. But he doesn't take a whole lot of roles, and sometimes the roles that he takes just don't make any sense. I'm not saying that every movie he's been in is a winner, but he usually doesn't take a whole lot of roles. But the 2 big ones that are coming out this weekend, of course, one's a horror movie that is got some legs. People be talking about it. It's from Neon Pictures, which they tend to put out some pretty interesting horror movies. It is called Long Legs. The trailers look pretty creepy. It's got Micah Monroe as the lead, but there's Nicolas Cage playing Longlegs. There are no trailers that show Nicolas Cage at all in this movie, but which is interesting. But people are saying, that it's supposed to be a really, really awesome serial killer movie. Yeah, man, it's a pursuit of a serial killer movie. Occult clues. I mean, True Detective, Silence of the Lambs, what's the other? The Bone Collector, Seven. I mean, it's kind of, there is a formula to these serial killer movies. But as Vince on Twitch just pointed out, he said the advertising of it says, "You will vomit." And you're like, what's in the box? What's in the box? I don't know if I'm going to vomit. I mean, 8mm, like, this isn't the first time a movie like this has ever been made. But, yeah, I mean, serial killer movies are pretty fun, It's a lot of whodunit and sleuthing and apparently Nicolas Cage. So that one's coming out in theaters this weekend, and then also in theaters this week from director Greg Berlanti. It is Fly Me to the Moon, which is about this marketing maven played by Scarlett Johansson and Kelly Jones wreaking havoc on a launch director who has this difficult task of putting a manned flight to the moon. But while the White House seems the mission is too important to fail, they are directed to stage a fake moon landing as a backup. So kind of making a film about everybody's, sort of tinfoil conspiracy theory ideas of the moon landing being fake. All the video that we saw of it was being staged, and this is kind of a movie about that. A lot of people in this movie. You got Ray Romano, Woody Harrelson, Scarlett Johansson, Channing Tatum. Pretty cool cast. I want to see it. Kind of gives me Wag the Dog vibes, but I like kind of government conspiracy movies that have that are a little tongue in cheek, because if anything that the past 8 years has taught you is if you can think about it, it's probably fucking happening. You know.
Well, the trailer is like they are trying to go to the moon, but it's showing like they got to have a backup plan.
Which I wouldn't put it past them. You know, wouldn't put it past them. Project 2025. Look it up. Anyway,
there's no way that can be that can happen for real.
What? That whole stuff?
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's not.
100% it can. 100% it can. Do you not watch The Manchurian Candidate? There's all kinds of crazy stuff. Do you not watch Wag the Dog? Do you not watch all these things? That stuff can totally happen. It's like there's no way that Mussolini could rise to power. There's no way that the Cuban Missile Crisis could have happened. There's no way that Stalin would have ever been a dictator. There's no way that Putin would rise to power. There's no way that. Dude, there's a way, and we're on it.
For some reason, I feel like people won't let that. But at the same time, people are stupid.
Yes, they are. And if anything about the box office roundup that will tell you this week is that people are real stupid. And yeah, so there you go. That's what's coming out in theaters this week. So let's talk about what is in theaters now. Jake, you want to jump in with Kalki since it's the older one? And I'm going to close the store really quick while you lead in, but I will be right back.
Yeah. So I finally got to go watch Kalki 2898. I wanted to talk to you guys about it last week, but as we discussed a little earlier, all of the showings were sold out leading up to that. Finally got some openings. I was able to go watch it. And it's sick, man. It is a story of Indian religion, like Hinduism stuff. You know, Kalki is the embodiment of Vishnu, like the 10th and final form that Vishnu takes to bring the end to one of
Super Saiyan Vishnu?
No, one of the eras of whatever. There's 4 eras of the never ending, and it's to bring an ending to this era and start in a new era. And the movie is that when they were fighting, Vishnu and the character played by Amitabh Bachchan, Ashwatthama like throws this magical arrow thing, and he puts a curse in it so that it kills this unborn baby in this lady's stomach, who's like he's the final member of this clan. And so then the 8th incarnation of
Who are
Vishnu,
those big giant things?
That was just an elevator.
Okay.
The 8th incarnation of Vishnu, Krishna, then curses Ashwatthama. He said, "You will live forever. Your wounds will never heal." He steals the jewel from his head, and he goes, "But the reason you'll live forever and your wounds won't heal is you're going to see every atrocity that man will commit from this point because of the evil that you did. You will witness this. You will survive all of it. But the point of it will be, I will return one day, and it will be you that has to save me to be released from your cycle of undying." And when the river Ganges runs dry, when your jewel returns to you, I will be born, and you will have to protect me so that I can be born and bring an end to all of this. So that being the setup, you don't need to know any more about Indian religion than that.
That's all you need to know.
From there, well,
that's it. Just a little bit.
It lays it out real easy.
Okay,
you don't even have to know all of that. There's a big guy. He gets cursed. He lives forever, and it's going to be him that has to save the coming of God. Enter the future. They're in 2898, 6,000 years later. And there's one city left standing on Earth, and everyone's trying to go to this city. Everyone's running out of food. Everyone's running out of water. And there's like this floating triangle thing. And it's where all the resources of Earth have gone. And there's this dude who runs the place. And this movie just turns into live action anime. done well. It is Star Wars. It's Dune. It's Blade Runner. But it's also
The Maharaba.
it's Ghost in the Shell and Battle Angel Alita and Neon Tokyo.
Just
and
everything.
Dude,
It's the Ready Player One of sci-fi movies.
Yes, but they do it well. They do everything that all of those movies have not been able to do so much better. So you get this like roguish bounty hunter guy. You get this like evil controlling dude, and he's harvesting. He has all of the fertile women brought to the complex, which is the name of this thing, to try and find the coming of Vishnu in them, and he's taking these powers and he's like putting them in him. But none of the women can maintain their pregnancy longer than like 90 days, and they're trying to find someone that can hold it for 130 days or more, because that's going to be the rebirth of Vishnu and all this stuff. But you get the rogue dude. He's bounty hunting one of the women that is pregnant. She's carrying Vishnu. She escapes. And there's the resistance, and they all live in Shambhala, which is this secret society hidden away, and they've been looking for this baby so they can protect it. And then sci-fi shenanigans and battle and action ensue. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, man. It's every dystopian cyberpunk future, but it's like all in one, and everything that they haven't been able to do, this one is able to pull off, and it does it well, and it's fun to watch. There's a lot of good action, and when Ashwatthama makes his return, and he's like this 10-foot tall behemoth that just like whoops everyone, it's so cool. There's only one dance number, like song and dance.
So there is
thing.
one.
There's a single one, but it's a little montage thing to kind of move the story along in a spot as they do, but you get one only. The only part is, much like Horizon, you get left off. On this one, you get a cliffhanger. This one's a cliffhanger.
So there's a sequel?
There's a sequel. It opens up with saying it's the Kalki universe.
Oh, Vince
Totally
calling you out right
disappears when you
here.
talk
It's
about
like
any
Mr. No Spoilers, and then Jake's like, "Here's the whole movie right now."
I didn't give any spoilers, bro. I gave you the setup of the movie. You got 3 hours of movie, man. I'm telling you.
I guess that is true. There is 3 hours of movie.
I'm telling you what the plot is, up to the point where there's no spoilers, right? Because you learn about the people of Shambhala at the beginning. You learn about the last standing city and the evil guy controlling the complex. You're introduced to Bhairava, who is Prabhas's character. You get to see all these things. I'm not giving away any part of the movie that you don't need to be giving away, because if the pregnant lady that's not supposed to be pregnant didn't escape, there wouldn't be a damn movie.
Yep.
So that's kind of a dead given. Nothing in this movie is unpredictable. Okay, everything in it is predictable to a point, but not so much that it's a paint by numbers type thing. It's just they did like a George Lucas type deal when he made Star Wars, and was like, they took classic stories and religious text, and they took action and what the future may be, and they put it all in. So they took the best parts of all of these stories, and they made one really entertaining.
Saying that this is the Star Wars of India.
Yeah, but like good Star Wars. Like
Wow.
4, 5, and 6.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyhow, it's a lot of fun. It's set to have a sequel. There's been an interview with the director already. He said that they're 25 to 30 days into shooting that. Knowing that there would be a sequel is also not a spoiler, because the movie opens and it says a Kalki universe film at the bottom of Kalki 2898 AD.
Seriously.
You're 10 seconds into the opening credits, and it says, guess what, dude?
Sequel.
There is going to
Just
be a
already
sequel.
preparing you.
So, anyhow, and it's a lot of fun. If you like any of that kind of sci-fi stuff, or if any of like the futuristic anime type thing gets you tickled at all, like, this is a fun movie, because it's like there's a bounty hunter with a talking car who is just a roguish butthole, who doesn't know that he's going to be a good guy yet, you know, kind of a thing. There's the future babies, evil godlike dudes, and then like a real god coming to be. Like, it felt like a Ghibli movie or a...
It's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, man. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff going on, but it's great. It's making all that money for a reason. It was popular to the point and sold out for a reason.
There you go.
Recommend it.
Well, it's in some theaters nationwide. I want to say, let me take a look at my figures here. It was in about 625 theaters here in the country. It has dropped a little bit in theaters, so if it's still out there near you, you have a chance to see that. But in its place, I believe Kill is out as well in about 828 theaters this week. And you also saw that.
I did.
So give us a rundown of that one, and then we'll shift gears over to Axel F.
Yeah. So Velvet Santa asked, pants-worthy? Yes, it is pants-worthy. Go watch it in the theater. It'll be something much more enjoyable in the theater than at home. Seeing Kalki on the big screen is definitely the way to do it. Kill. So I went and I watched Kill. And if you remember, last week I was trying to watch Kalki, and Kill opened up in its place on Wednesday.
Yep.
But Thursday got back on track, so 4th of July I did watch Kill. And Kill is an action movie set in a train. It is, not to give spoilers there, Vince.
It's in a train.
Here's the setup of the movie, though. These two army guys are just coming off of they're like kind of like these special forces type guys. They're coming off of this mission or this training.
Is this supposed to be like another retelling of that thing that actually happened on that train that they made a movie about? You remember that? Yeah.
Yeah. The French train with the American soldiers that stopped the terrorists. No, Clint Eastwood already did that. So two special forces soldiers are coming off of training. This guy is he's been courting this woman, but her dad is trying to marry her off. So he goes to stop her, and she's like, "You're too late. I got to leave for Delhi. Tomorrow I'm on this train. Meet me in Delhi, and we'll figure out a way for us to be together." Well, he surprises her by ending up on her train, and to the surprise of everyone on the train, it is
bad guys.
It's being robbed by this family gang of bandits, right? And then
bandits.
The bandits mess up because they
picked the wrong damn train.
Well, the girl's dad is a very prominent figure. He's like the CEO of a company, so they know that he has a lot of money. They recognize his face from the news, and so then him, the girl, and the rest of their family are a priority target of these bandit guys. And of course, special forces guys got to stop him. The whole first half of the movie is the main character and his buddy getting their asses whooped. These are not invincible, unstoppable hero killing machines. They take their licks as well. They're beating up the bandits and stuff like that. And the first half of the movie is they kill one of the bad guys, and he's like, "Dude, why'd you kill him?" He's like, "I had to. I didn't have a choice." And he's like, "Well, let's try not to kill anyone else. We're not here to kill people. We're just here to stop the bad guys and save all of these innocents on the train." And that's their plan. Well, halfway through the movie, that changes. And then this becomes brutal action, like you see in the trailer. The rest of the movie, people's heads just going, knives being shoved in people's nose holes.
Damn.
Dude, just every kind of like... fun action gore, not like horror gore where it's like over the top or like gross, but it's like the action
going
gore
backwards.
Where like people are getting just like stabbed through the chin coming out the top of their head, or like they're getting stuck to a wall and it's like stick around, kind of a thing. Like
classic
80s one-liner gore type stuff. And it's just, it opens up because this dude is tired of their crap. He's still not invincible. No one comes out of this thing unscathed, kind of a thing. But action on a train, close quarter fightings. You never know who is part of the bandits because they infiltrated all the cars. They've set cell phone jammers in place. They're all dressed in the same clothes as anybody. And so it's like Die Hard.
Yeah.
Because it's like you don't know who the bad guy is necessarily because they haven't seen the good guys. The good guys haven't seen them. But as they find out who each other are, they're
John
trying.
McClane.
It's also it's a lot of fun. This one you don't necessarily have to watch in the theater. There's nothing that makes it like
Kind of like a Netflix action.
Yeah, there's nothing that makes it where it's like a big screen must. There's not like crazy visuals or audio that you have to have, but it is fun. It's fun as hell. It's absolutely a good time. And there was times where, someone would just get ganked, and I was like, "Oh, dude!" Like I would have like audible and visible reactions to people getting
right on
whooped. It's a lot of fun.
And it's in some theaters, like
it has a story with several surprises in it, so I'm not going to give any spoilers, bro. But it's worth watching for sure. Kill's very entertaining. Explored some movies in foreign languages. Both of these are really good. Kalki, definitely a theater movie. Kill,
still watch it.
You'll want to watch it at some point. Definitely.
Watch it on home. Well, speaking of 80s one-liners, that's the next movie we have to talk about. You've seen it. We've talked about it. It's been in production it's been a rumor for, 30 years. And finally on Netflix, it's the Beverly Hills Cop 4. It's Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. This movie finally got made, directed by Mark Malloy. Starring, of course, Eddie Murphy, bringing back Judge Reinhold, bringing back Paul Reiser, bringing back Bronson Pinchot, bringing back, it's just everybody. John Ashton in that one. I mean, you just adding, of course, Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Taylor Page. But Beverly Hills Cop is so Velvet Santa on Twitch just said they'd never seen Beverly Hills Cop.
How do you get through life and what?
Beverly Hills Cop is one of the greatest 80s cop action movies in the history of the genre. Like, it defined the buddy cop genre. You had Harold Faltermeyer music. You had the Axel F theme. You had a soundtrack that was super banging. And this has got, Bruckheimer Productions behind it. So you've got lots of classic 80s formulaic car chases, just running through town, knocking over fruit carts. Lots of great car chases. Very, very Axel Foley stylings. It's formulaic in a sense that doesn't make me mad. Like this movie, it pays homage in ways that make you really wish that this movie hadn't taken 30 years to get made, because it flows well enough. You're like, why'd you wait so long for this?
Yeah,
because these guys are kind of getting too old.
Yeah, but it feels like Beverly Hills Cop movie.
It does. It's more of a Beverly Hills Cop movie than Part 3.
Well, and they make sure to point that out in this movie. They have a reference that says that one wasn't the good one. It's very, it's not.
They're going through the files.
Yeah, they're going through the files. He's like 97. He's like,
that wasn't
not so good
time
on that one. There's Shrek references. There's
Happy Gilmore references.
Yeah.
Did you catch the Happy Gilmore cameo?
I hadn't got there yet.
Okay. Well, Shooter McGavin shows up.
Yeah.
Just randomly.
I read that, but it feels like Beverly Hills Cop, which is something that a lot of these that are revisiting the older properties don't do. And it does insert like he had a daughter and all this stuff, and that she lives in Beverly Hills, and
it gave him a pretty decent reason to come back.
But unlike a lot of these too, it's not ham-fisted in there, right? It's not forced on you. It actually it fits. Yeah, it flows well.
The only thing that felt forced is the fact that it's been 30 years and you can't it feels like he hasn't been to Beverly Hills in a long time. And the fact that these guys are all in their late 60s and they're still street beat cops.
Yeah. The suspension of disbelief does have to be there for you to believe that Axel is still just a cop on the job, in
hopping
Detroit.
Fences and being driving that old banger.
Because that's how it opens up, is Axel Foley being like, oh, I can't do this because Chief will get on to me. But if you do this and I happen to be here with you, and it's like, how is it that he's still just some cop?
Yeah, the chief's gonna go Foley.
Yeah, and their only reasoning is that it's like, hey, most people your age don't do this, and he's but I do.
The chief was his dipshit friend back in Detroit from it's like, but now Paul Reiser's the chief, and not, so there was a couple of things that just seemed a little bit forced just to have cameos. But for the most part, it took that 80s like comforting whodunit. You can kind of telegraph from the first scene. You see the bad guy and you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, he's the bad guy.
I like that part of it though
So
too.
do
Is they're
I.
like,
It's so
here's the
obvious.
bad guy. Here's how they're going to get him.
Yep. And the music was good. Eddie Murphy still got it. The one thing that was very, very weird to me, so weird that I had to Google it, and I read an article about it, which was he changed Axel Foley's laugh. It wasn't the like that whatever. How he makes that. I can't do it. I can't do that impression. But the Axel Foley classic laugh, and that was an Eddie Murphy choice. He's like, people impersonate Eddie Murphy all the time, but they impersonate it from these characters that he plays and not like Eddie Murphy. And that laugh became so iconic that people think that that's the way he actually laughs.
Because that's how he does it in his stand-up too.
Right.
So what's he talking
He's
about?
he just said he wanted to distance himself from that laugh. And I was like, come on. That's what everybody wanted, But for the most part, he clicks right back into this role, and it feels natural in a way that I didn't expect it to, and it made me miss practical effects. It made me miss bulldozers hitting cars in crowded cities. It made me miss sort of cops that are just trying to do good shit, and like the Eddie Murphy improvisational, like I'm going to walk into a situation and defuse it with, the Axel Foley superpower of being like, I'm going to read the situation and I'm going to know what to say to get out of it. He does that to an extent, but what was fun in this movie is he's getting a little old for it, and so it doesn't always work. And, Joseph Gordon-Levitt I thought was an interesting choice to come in and kind of be a little bit of a buddy cop sidekick that wasn't too overpowering. Even though Joseph Gordon-Levitt is a big celebrity name, it wasn't all about like, hey, this is the Joseph Gordon-Levitt show. It was very much like, we know why you're here, and let's let Eddie Murphy do what Eddie Murphy does. And it was fun. I had a lot of fun with it, and I don't want to spoil the ending, but the ending is exactly what you think it is. Eddie Murphy rolls in and fucking saves the day, you know?
Don't
And-
spoil the ending on a movie that you already know what the ending's going to be.
Yeah, and it's just, as Merle asked earlier in the Twitch stream, he said, how do they do with the theme song, dubstep? No, they did
left it
a lot of different subtle remixes, just like in some of the originals where...
Yeah, it's done just like in the original movies where you get little different versions of it kind of depending on what they're walking into in
it's
their
like
scenario.
they're sneaking in and it's like, boo, 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 but then when, the guns come out, it's like, boom, jump, boom, ba-dum, boom, 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 jump, boom, and it's good. It just makes...
The music in this is done really well. The only standout remixes that are done as like a, hey, it's in 2024, they only do it for like a minute and they kind of step away from it. But it's also like covers of an old song. But all the music fits in, and it's very Beverly Hills Cop and stuff like that. So.
But yeah, I recommend it. I think, if you like any of the Beverly Hills Cop movies, you will enjoy this movie. I think if you're not really into the Beverly Hills Cop franchise, jumping in at this one blind, it's not going to be a bad movie, but you're not going to get and appreciate, obviously, like Serge, coming in.
But he's there long enough.
Yeah, I mean, he's still fun, but you're not like happy to see him. He's just a character. But if you know, you're like, hell yeah, it's
I see,
Serge, and the same with Paul Reiser or Judge Reinhold or John Aston's character, Taggart and Rosewood. If you didn't already have some understanding of their dynamic, which they oddly clicked right back into those roles that felt like Judge Reinhold is very not Billy Rosewood in real life. I've met the guy. He's not that guy. But he plays that character really well. And it was funny to see.
He's an actor.
He is an actor, and he does a great job at playing that role. And just to reconnect with a role that you haven't touched in 30 years, despite being old and decrepit, I think was pretty interesting, and I enjoyed it. So it's free. It's on Netflix. I recommend it. A lot of as Vince says, a lot of good callbacks without being just gross fan service.
Yeah. And even, like the estranged daughter storyline doesn't feel as dumb as a lot of these movies do it. So, I mean, I got 30 minutes left on it, and I'm not upset about any part of it so far.
Yeah. Well, you can check it out on Netflix. It's there for you, Axel F. We've waited 30 years for a sequel to this. I honestly and truly wish that they had made this about 15 years earlier so that all these guys would have been a little bit younger and a little bit more believable to be in the roles that they are. But that aside, it felt classic. Just the look of it, it didn't feel Netflixy. It felt very much like a cinematic chapter of that movie. Honestly, I would have seen this movie in the theaters. I would have happily seen this movie in the theaters.
This would have been a good theater movie.
There's like helicopters, there's dump trucks, there's bulldozers, there's the little ticket wagon chase was pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just some fun stuff. So anyway, it's in Netflix, not theaters. It's in Netflix right now. You can check it out. So now it's time to talk about the box office roundup. Obviously, Axel F is not going to be in the box office. So Jake's going to give you the top 10 movies in America from this past weekend, which was technically kind of a holiday weekend, but July 5th through 7th, 2024. Vince wants us to give out a shout out to number 27 on the Billboard, the box office.
Damn, why didn't we have that here?
Because it was only in one theater. It has Seven Samurai, according to this.
The 70th anniversary 4K re-release. Knowing that Seven Samurai exists in 4K, you know that I have to have it.
I've got it on Blu-ray Criterion Edition. You just want to borrow it?
4K.
Oh well, okay. Yeah, I don't think that's on. I don't think it's 4K.
I can see how the wig lines.
I don't want to see 4K. The wig lines.
I sure do.
But Seven Samurai. Maybe it'll get another. We had it in a bunch of theaters by you guys. That's interesting because Box Office Mojo's only saying it made $19,000 at the box office this week. But if it was around here, I'd love to see it.
Dude,
but it's a 4-hour movie, isn't it?
I would go. Seven Samurai. No, it's only like 3 hours, but it's not like a super thrilling high octane action movie.
No, but it's good.
Yeah, 3.5. Seven Samurai is so good. Also, you know what? My favorite samurai is the ugly guy.
Thank you, Movie Hour on Twitch, coming in saying 4K is a waste of money.
I don't think so. I like it.
Agree that it's a waste of money. I don't want to.
Total Recall in 4K in the movie theater.
No, I didn't want to see it. I don't want to see the clay on that third titty. Like, I don't want to see it.
Past 4K is a waste of money because, like, visually, your eyeball can't distinguish 4K and 8K unless you're like this far away from it, right? But 1080 and 4K is a big difference.
Well, Hackers Anniversary 4K is worth it, dude. Hack the Planet. I love that movie. It's so good. Hack the Planet, bro. All right, number 10, which is unusual because it increased. It jumped in revenue this week, which was kind of interesting. So take it away.
Well, number 14 is Kill that I just talked to you guys about. Yeah. It's brought in $678,000. Might not be so bad for a little Indian movie that could. We'll see where it goes from there. But yeah, number 10 climbed from the number 19 spot. Holy crap.
Yeah, how weird.
The Fall Guy brought in another $870,000, bringing its 10-week total to $92 million.
So weird.
Maybe
a bunch of people are just like, yo, we got to go see this movie again.
Yeah.
Got it up back in the top 10.
It hasn't released any extra footage for the theater. It's just on the VOD, I think. But yeah, that was probably one where people are like, dude, we got a day off or something. I've been trying to see this. Maybe it's one of those things where a lot of
4th of July movie.
Working people day off. They're like, I can finally go to the movie, and that's what they watch. So that's pretty cool. But at number 9, dropping 3 more spots, The Bike Riders, and its third week out brought in $1.28 million, $19.3 million at the theater so far, and you can start watching it at home beginning tomorrow.
Yep.
And then at number 8, dropping from the number 5th spot, but still here in the top 10, Kalki 2898, $1.8 million brought in by that one. In its second week out, $7.3 million here in the U.S. is its estimated total. Like I said, it's grossed over $100 million across the globe. So it's supposed to it's one of the biggest Indian movies. So good for it. I'm excited for the next one. Can't wait for it. And then coming in above Kalki at number 7. Sound of Hope, the story of Possum Trot.
About a East Texas church, Reverend W.C. Martin. It's a true story. 22 families adopted 77 children from the foster system. And, yeah, it's kind of one of those feel-good.
Yeah, based on a true story.
Angel
movie.
Studios. So
yeah, opened at $3 million, but somehow it's made a little bit of money ahead of it.
Those Angel Studios movies, you never know. You never know what kind of money laundering.
$6.7 million so far on that one. Are the numbers we're looking at? Do they include for the opening ones
or July
4th of July?
4th?
Yeah, longer weekend. Because coming in above it at number 6 is Horizon, an American Saga, Chapter 1. Another $5.3 million for it. Second week out, it's brought in only $22 million. So that's what they're talking about. It's needs to crest like $100 million to be considered successful.
Barely successful, yeah.
But when it's on VOD or streaming, I think a lot of the people that are Western fans are probably not the kind of people that feel like getting out to the theater, which is unfortunate because I love Westerns. I think Westerns are so much fun. But we'll see where that one goes. Hopefully it gets its resurgence too. And above it at number 5, dropping only one spot, Bad Boys Ride or Die, $6.6 million this past week. So in its 5 weeks out, it's brought in $177.4 million. Another 182.
That's odd to me.
Across the world.
I wouldn't expect this movie to have a broad international appeal, but it did.
Yeah,
$360
million. And then opening at number 4, Maxine, $6.7 million for that one, which for an A24 movie,
not bad, not bad at all.
Probably doing pretty good.
Yep, they're happy with that opening.
Sure, and I think they said that is the best one out of the trilogy. Money-wise
I don't know
so
about
far.
that. So, money wise, I'm
opening.
Yeah,
it did better than what was the prequel? It
Pearl.
Was Pearl, and then Maxine. Yeah, and then at number 3, A Quiet Place, Day 1. It brought in another $20 million. So in only 2 weeks, it's made $94 million in the U.S., another 83.8 across the world, $178 million brought in by that one. I don't get why people want to watch it. I
did not enjoy it.
Yeah, watching it. There is an entire article about the director explaining why there's the cat, by the way.
And the explaining why there's going to be a sequel to it. And I'm like...
Their reasoning for the cat was, cats are kind of quiet. It was either a dog or a cat. It's like, well, why did they have to have a pet at all? And they go, cats are quiet.
I still stand by my wish that it would have been a better movie if it was just following the cat.
It turns out it's following the cat. It's not following the people.
Right, yeah, and it just visits different people, and then you get a little bit of that story, and then the cat goes off somewhere else, and you get another story.
Yeah, you don't realize it until halfway through. The cat walks away, and then Lupita
it gets eaten.
What? Who's the lady?
That was her.
Yeah. She sneezes, and then the monster takes her, and the cat just walks
away, and then it's another storyline. Yeah. And I think that would have been such a better movie.
And then at number 2, finally coming off the top spot,
that darn cat.
Inside Out 2, $30 million brought in by that one in its 4th week out. $534 million in the U.S. alone. Another $686 million across the world. It has made almost $1.25 billion.
Yep, it's broken into the all-time biggest grossing movies ever.
And then taking away its top spot was Despicable Me 4. So we got 2 little kid CGI movies. Despicable Me opened with $75 million for the weekend.
Then 4th of July.
4th of July included. It brought in $122.6 million in the U.S.
Yeah.
Another 110 across the world. So it's at $231 million total. That's made just $250 million opening weekend.
That's despicable, because this movie is not has no substance to it, right? It's just
they said they're going to keep making them.
As long as we keep buying them.
Their reasoning for the Despicable Me and Minions continuing is because they're so relatable.
Yes, an evil ex super genius. How are we supposed to believe that Gru is evil at this point? Like, and he's not even that despicable at this point. He's the hero. He's like a lovable dad now, and he's like, oh, I've got the ray gun. Does that make you? Fuck you. Like, make him a bad guy. Have him murder someone. Have him step on a cat's head. I don't know. Fucking make him a bad guy. And quit calling these movies Despicable Me. The only despicable people in here are the corporations that are taking our money because they're making these stupid ass movies that they know that we're going to keep giving them money. And, you know, and I don't want to see a little yellow minion overalled butt again, ever. I don't want to see it. Like, I'm done. I've seen it once. And, you know, oh, God, I don't. And the fact that they're named like Steve and Tony is not funny anymore. I mean, that's just Jesus, these movies, there's like 8 of them now, if you count like Despicable Me 4, and then there's like a standalone Baby Gru, and then there's like 4 Minions movies. Oh, God. Oh, God. Okay, let's see. Vince over on Twitch, he just said, I think Star Wars, Marvel, and Disney talk bums me out so much because their corporations designed to make money, not art. We have changed into a culture that celebrates the dollar instead of the artist. Duh. We've been there for a minute. And it's sad. And you look at the theaters, and then that's what I was going to say a minute ago when we were talking about Horizon. And then, hey, thanks for the sub, Merle. That Dina was saying, you know, that Flowers of the Killer Moon barely made $100 million, and you're thinking about these movies that are like very passionate directors and filmmakers making, you know, movies that aren't about little yellow butts getting stuck in a vending machine and farting and, you know, and going go, you know, and we're like, get that out of here. I don't want to see that. I want to see explosions. I want to see butts. I want to see like skunks spraying on babies and then them laughing about farts. Like, Dad, give me some more of that. And
spraying on babies.
It was in the trailer.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh,
and,
that's awful.
Yeah, like Gru like dives in. It's like, oh, my baby, and then the skunk like sprays him instead, and it's like, you smell like toots. Me. You're like, fuck me, just shoot me in the face. And yeah, that's what we're giving billions of dollars to. And then you wonder why things like Project 2025, people like me think that these will actually come into reality, because we've got the 1, 2, and 3 movies in America are some of the most brain dead, like passionless money machine projects I've ever seen in my life. So, and Dina says it's camp, and yeah, like there's an argument to be said about camp, you know, but at a certain point, when you're just repeating the same thing, like, you know, let's take the Naked Gun movies, for example. Like, that's camp. I'm not a huge fan of the Naked Gun movies. I know, but I understand. I find them funny, but each one, like, makes humor. It's pointing out humor at certain things that are going on in the times. They're like, oh, it's time to make another Naked Gun movie, not because we need to make a bunch of money, but because there's a lot of things we need to make fun of right now. And even going back to the Scary Movie franchise, I'm about to defend that shit. They would make a sequel to that when enough horror movies came out with enough tropes to poke fun at, with enough stupid shit that they're like, hey, we got to do it again, man. Somebody's got to poke fun at this. And now they're just doing it because we keep giving it money. So anyway, Merle says, watch Wall-E and then Idiocracy, and maybe in reverse order. Yeah, I mean, we're on the way, man.
Baiting.
Yeah. Just baiting.
Yeah. Hey, I said go away. I'm baiting. Yeah.
Oh, God. Who what was his? Was that Dak?
Yeah, Dak Shepard.
Dak Shepard? Oh, yeah. Man.
His name was Frito.
Yeah. That would be so stupid. I'm baiting.
I like, too, that his apartment was just accessible through a mountain of garbage spilling out of his broken open window. Just no one cared.
Oh, man. Well, anyway, that's your top 10 movies in America.
Suburban Commando and Falling Down.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to get you, Ramsey.
But, all right, guys. Well, that's our show. Thanks for tuning in. Jump in on our Discord. We will put a link up there. You can just go to driveinspeakerbox.com, and it'll throw up our link tree. You can follow our Discord. You can follow us on on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, wherever it is you want to follow us or subscribe to the podcast. Thanks for the sub, everybody that subbed in our Twitch. That is money directly to us. We appreciate that. And the Discord, obviously not doing a movie this week, but if you want to get in there and find out when we are doing another watch-along, you can do so and continue the conversations over there in our
last
Discord.
week was
Galaxy Quest.
I got to watch most of it. There were several people that had never seen it.
I know.
Hope they liked it.
Yeah, maybe I'll pick a movie sometime soon. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. We will see you guys next week. And Jake, you got anything? Oh, first Monday of the month, according to Vince. Okay, this just in. First Monday of the month will be watch-alongs.
Nice.
So, yeah. But all right, well, I guess that's it for us. We'll catch you later.
See ya.
As you leave the theater, folks, please be careful. Don't let this happen to your car. Be sure to remove the speaker before you leave. If you should accidentally pull a speaker loose, please turn it in at our snack bar or box office. Thank you.